a judge. Sending hundreds of dangerous criminals to prison, no prosecutor was tougher than Megan Shanahan.
A child rapist was sent to prison today. Before she won the case, prosecutor Megan Shanahan told the jury that they should...
And then, Megan Shanahan became a judge. With more than a dozen years on the bench, Judge Shanahan has presided over some of the most difficult criminal and civil cases in Ohio. You want law and order on the Ohio Supreme Court? Then you want Judge Megan Shanahan, a defender of the Constitution. Shanahan, Judge Megan Shanahan for Ohio Supreme Court.
Paid for by Shanahan for Ohio.
I'm Carrie Champion, and this is Season 4 of Naked Sports. Up first, I explore the making of a rivalry. Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese.
Every great player needs a foil.
People are talking about women's basketball just because of one single game.
I just come here to play basketball every single day.
Clark and Reese have changed the way we consume women's sports. Listen to The Making of a Rivalry, Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search The Making of a Rivalry, Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, and start listening.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Enter this nationwide keyword on our website, money. That's money. Enter it now.
Don't want to be an American idiot.
Got Phone Show 700 WLW, one of my favorite days of the week, simply because the weekend is here, simply because we're that much closer to football. And the Bengals at 1-4 are at the Giants. It's Sunday Night Football once again on the national stage. And Dan Horde is here, of course, the voice of the Bengals and the Bearcats, and we'll get to that in just a second. Daniel, good morning. I feel really good about this. I know we're 1-4. We're wringing our hands about the Bengals, and rightly so, because teams that are 1-4 generally don't get to host an AFC championship game. Playoffs are in question, all that. But starting with the Giants, starting Sunday night, the stretch of games that they have, all very winnable. Because after this, you got Cleveland, you got the Eagles, and then you got the Raiders. And that feels like 4 wins to me. Now, granted, anything can happen, and this team has, so far this short season, found a way to literally take and really rip defeat from the jaws of victory. We saw that on Sunday last. But I feel really good about the Giants, especially with the news that their all-world wide receiver Malik Neighbors looks like he's going to be out. He's in concussion protocol. I heard the very latest. It doesn't look like he's going to go. What are you hearing?
Don't know about that, Sloaney. He was apparently riding a bike yesterday and doing some stuff on the rehab field the day before. So when you're coming through concussion protocol, there's a ramp-up process, and I'm not sure if he could still get cleared in time for the game Sunday night. But regardless of whether Malik Neighbors plays or not, I agree with you. I think the simple fact that the Bengals are about to start playing teams that aren't as good offensively as the ones that they've played, specifically the Commanders, number 1 in the NFL in scoring, the Ravens, number 2 in the NFL in scoring, the Chiefs, 2-time defending Super Bowl champs. If the Bengals keep performing the way they're performing on offense, and I think they will, they're bound to start winning games, aren't they? I mean, these games coming up. The game coming up feel like the game they played 2 weeks ago against Carolina, where they didn't shut them out. No. They gave up 24 points, but that's going to do it with this offense. Just hold other teams to 3 touchdowns when you're going to start winning games. So I honestly expect that to start happening. Now, admittedly, I thought they would have won some of the games that they've lost, but I really do think, as you pointed out, looking at the games coming up, surely they're going to start winning these games.
Bengals and Giants, Sunday Night Football. We'll have it for you here on the home of the best Bengals coverage, 700 WLW. That's an 8:20 kickoff. And Dan Horde and Dave Lapham with the call. Of course, Danny joins me every Friday morning at this time talking Bengals. And all right, so you kind of intimated that you think the defense is going to get right this week, or at least move in that direction, or at least hold the Giants to fewer points than Joe Burrow and the offense will put up. I'll take it. They had a defensive-only meeting. And here's a club, by the way, as good as Joe Burrow is. I mean, MVP candidate, legitimate MVP candidate right now. The defense is 31st in the NFL, behind their only one win against Carolina. They talked about accountability in that room, and it was a brief 5 to 10 minute. But is that enough to inspire and catalyze this defense into becoming a lot more solid? Just a players only meeting, and I keep hearing about, okay, this is the week we're going to get better. It doesn't happen. What has to occur inside that room for the Bengals to actually fulfill that goal?
I think players-only meetings are vastly overrated as some sort of catalyst that's going to completely turn around. They just need to play better. Now, the fact that they started getting guys back on the defensive line last week helps. I thought Sam Hubbard played better, playing less. I thought Miles Murphy flashed a few times. It'll be, good to see him out there now with a week under his belt. And I do expect that they're going to have Sheldon Rankins back this week as well. So it starts there. Now, that's not the entire issue. They've had problems in the secondary as well, and now they've lost Dax Hill. So DJ Turner is going to have to step up and play well. Josh Newton might wind up getting snaps now that Dax is done for the rest of the year. So it's it's the defense in its entirety. And it's not a matter of talking about it in a room with the door closed. It's a matter of going out and playing much better on Sunday
and doing
night.
your job. I mean, you mentioned that. So we're starting to see the guys up front come back healthier now. But you mentioned, Dax Hill, your number one guy, ACL, he's done for the season. So they rotated in DJ Turner now with Cam Taylor. But looks like DJ Ivey has been cleared to practice, so that's good. Mike Hilton has been difficult this week. He's banged up, but it looks like he's cleared to play. So starting to get more guys back in there.
Yeah, Mike Hilton's obviously a difference maker, and he will be back. So that's huge. I don't know about DJ Ivey. He's been out for 9 months. Right. If he comes back, it would be in a special teams role more than a cornerback role, at least initially. So maybe he's back this quickly. If so, it will be as a gunner on punt and kick coverage more than as a cornerback.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, just having him back to practice, I think you're going to see him eventually, and that certainly helps that side of the ball too. Also, let's go to and this is kind of scary too. Zach Moss had that foot thing. They upgraded him at least Wednesday to limited yesterday, and then Chase Brown was full, but he was banged up as well.
They'll both play on Sunday night. I think Chase Brown is fine. Zach Moss probably isn't fine, but he told Lapp he'll be good to go on Sunday night. So I do expect that 1-2 punch to be on the field on Sunday.
We didn't see much of Mike Gesicki last week too. I know he had a hamstring thing going on as well. They held him out a little bit this week. I think he was a little bit limited this week. But was that prior to the game? Is that? I'm not making excuses for his lack of play. Maybe it was the play calling, I guess. But a healthy Mike Gesicki in that lineup is good.
Yeah, I think that happened during the game last week. So, yeah, he's dealing with a hamstring injury. I don't think his is too critical. But if for some reason he's not able to go, they're pretty solid at that position. Eric All has proven to be excellent. Tanner Hudson is back and available. Maybe he's not quite up to Mike Gesicki's level, but he's pretty close. Good, pass receiving tight end. And then you've always got Drew Sample to block. So if Mike Gesicki is limited, I think they're still strong at that position.
Dan Horde, as far as this game goes on Sunday night at 8:20 against the Giants, and it feels to me like the Bengals should win this in Vegas, despite what the Bengals have done so far this season. Agrees. I think Cincinnati like a 3.5-point favorite right now going into this thing. Daniel Jones, like Lamar, can beat you with his feet, but man, that arm is it's awful.
How dare you include him in the same sentence as Lamar Jackson? They both have two legs. Yeah. I agree with that. Daniel Jones is mobile. He is capable of running. And
so he did to the Cowboys. That was pretty good. Or no, it wasn't Cowboys. Carolina.
He did have a really long run against the Cowboys a few years ago. Yeah. But in any case, he's in his 6th year. We know who he is at this point. He's capable of good games. He's thrown 5 touchdown passes in an NFL game. But for his career, he's got 68 touchdown passes and 43 interceptions. In this era, that is a terrible ratio. So I would not expect him to light the Bengals up on Sunday night. I'll be surprised if that happens. Now, they put 29 points on the board last week against Seattle. It's by far their best offensive game of this year. They had a 100-yard rusher in rookie Tyrone Tracy. They had a 100-yard receiver in Darius Slayton. So these guys aren't stiffs, but they're not the Ravens. They're not the Commanders. Washington has been excellent on offense this year. And again, just hold them to 3 touchdowns or less, and you win the game. They're averaging less than 18 points a game overall. So I do think last week's good game in Seattle was a bit of an outlier, and I think the Bengals can, hold them to a relatively low number on Sunday.
Dan, in my defense of my own stupidity here in that comparison saying he's, like Lamar will run, his legs are the most dangerous weapon because he can't throw the ball. I will say the Bengals this season so far have had made pedestrian quarterbacks and terrible quarterbacks look like the second coming of Joe Montana and Peyton Manning. So if you're an average quarterback, want to have a good game, go up against the Bengals defense.
Now,
I just hope to God the Bengals put it together defensively. That's all.
Hold on a second. Yeah. What bad quarterback have they made look good? No, I'm serious.
Well, week one.
Jacoby Brissett. In week one, they scored 16 points.
They did.
So, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes, and Andy Dalton, who is, he's not terrible. So, I don't think
Andy
they really
Dalton,
played.
though.
And they scored 24 points.
All right.
I mean, he didn't have a big game in that game. He was okay.
Good enough.
So when they faced great quarterbacks, if you include Jaden Daniels in the great category at this stage of his career, they've had problems. But I think that's one of the reasons why the defense has performed as poorly as it has. They haven't faced the Deshaun Watson, Daniel Jones category of quarterback this year. And hopefully now that they're about to, it's going to make a difference. Yeah,
and the other side of this thing is the Giants have not faced Joe Burrow and Chase and T. Higgins and Gesicki and all those guys. And I think the Bengals should be able to chew their secondary up pretty good. It's going to be a long, long night, I think, for the Giants.
If they can block Dexter Lawrence. That's the big story going into the game on Sunday. Dexter Lawrence, their nose tackle, is 340 pounds. He had 3 sacks last week. He's got 6 this season. Yeah. That is the Bengals team total. It matches the Giants' nose guard. The Giants as a team lead the NFL with 22 sacks. So they've got to protect. And if they do, then I think you're right. Yeah. And I think Burrow and Chase and Higgins will feast. But they've got to be able to protect on Sunday. That's the single biggest key to this game.
I think too, though, you're going to see you got both your running backs; they're healthy, and certainly if you got your tight ends involved there too, and the slot receivers and the like, and you take what they give them. I think the Bengals can kill you on so many levels. We would all love to see what we saw last week, and that is deep balls to your wide receivers. If you have that opportunity, and they will. I think Sunday night they're going to exploit that, but by and large, it could be one of those nickel and dime games. It just depends on how well that line's holding up. You're right.
Yeah. Joe Burrow, one of his greatest strengths is that he throws the ball to the open guy. So whether that's Chase 40 yards down the field or T. Higgins 8 yards down the field or Chase Brown swinging out of the backfield, Joe's going to put the ball where the defense is weakest. But in order to do that, he's got to have some time. And this is the team that, at least to this point, is getting to the quarterback more than any other. They sacked the Browns 9 times a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that's the key. That's the big key this week, in my opinion.
We'll be looking for it. I'm feeling a win. I'm cautiously optimistic, Dan, in a win this weekend and getting them back to 2-4. And then you've got Cleveland, you've got the Eagles, you got Vegas. Everyone stays healthy. The Bengals are maybe not looking as bad as we thought. Still not out of the woods yet. Now, don't yell at me. Don't hang up on me. For God's sakes, Dan, hold on just a sec. Just hear me out. Let's say...
I won't hang up. I might yell, but I won't hang up.
Let's say Bengals lose on Sunday night to the Giants.
Let's not say that.
Okay. Well,
why would we say that?
Well, I'm just putting it out there because we only talk on Fridays.
I don't want your negative energy, Stoney. I might hang up.
And it, of course, won't be Joe Burrow. It'll be the defense. Robert Saleh just let go as the Jets. Not a good head coach, pretty good defensive coordinator. It's silly to think that Zach Taylor would be axed by the Bengals. They just don't do that kind of stuff. But what about the defensive coordinator? Do you swap Robert Saleh out with Lou Anarumo?
God, no. I mean, 5 weeks ago, everybody in this town would have said, thank God we still have Lou Anarumo. We're so lucky that other NFL teams have not hired him to be the head coach. Then they have a few bad weeks and the pitchforks come out.
Of course.
Lou Anarumo is a tremendous defensive coordinator. I know it hasn't looked good so far this year, but do we really have to, think back that far to the Super Bowl run in 2021 and all the tremendous plays that his defense made and the great strategies that he came up with to confuse Patrick Mahomes and others? Lou Anarumo is great. I'm sorry that the season has not gone as well as hoped, but I have no qualms whatsoever with his coaching ability.
All right, Dan Horde right there. See, now you forgot what it's like to be a fan. I'm a fan. We want blood. I don't care what you did for us yesterday. I care about what you did for us today, Dan, because I'm a fan. You think logically, and that does not work in the National Football League. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Our conversation here is done. Hey, you've got a flight to catch. You got to get to. And I was texting with you and about the UCF game, and like, are they going to play this thing? You're like, I don't know. And I guess they know what they're doing in Florida when it comes to hurricanes. They said, shut up, Northern boys. It's fine. We got this, and the game will go on as scheduled tomorrow.
Yeah, it was in doubt earlier this week, and there was a lot of communication going back and forth between UCF and UC about what they might have to do. But it was Orlando. It wasn't the coast. So they waited it out, saw what kind of damage there was, and there was a little bit of flooding on the UCF campus, but it's gone now. Cleanup is well underway. The stadium's fine. So the game is on as scheduled.
It's going to be a hell of a game, too, because both these teams feel like, they're sitting at 3-2, 1-1 in the Big 12. Look at the schedule coming up. You see Colorado, and we saw what they did to UCF. Who's more desperate here?
Well, I think the desperation level is pretty similar, but it's interesting. UC in some ways has a lot of similarities to the Bengals. Now, the record is much better. They're 3-2, but it's similar in the sense that they could very easily be 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
They blew a 21-point lead late in the third quarter against Pitt. And then in their most recent game 2 weeks ago against Texas Tech, the weirdest series of, misfortune happened in the final 2 minutes of that game, or they would have at least kicked a game-tying field goal to force overtime or scored a touchdown to win. They wound up losing 44-41. So UC's doing a lot of things really well. The record could be much better than it is. It's still winning. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to see them go down to UCF and come home with a win. If
UCF loses this game, which you hope they do they move? Do they hire Robert Saleh as their DC, or are you going to yell at me about that too?
I'm fine with that. Anybody else that wants to hire Robert Saleh, you've got my blessing. But there's no reason the Bengals should replace Lou Anarumo with Robert Saleh.
Dan Horde tomorrow with the call. UC football, of course, at UCF. And then Sunday night football at 8:20. It's the Bengals at the Giants. So going from Florida up the coast to the big city, the Big Apple. Thanks again, Danny. Safe travels, and always love having you on.
Likewise. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate you.
This is the home of the best Bengals coverage, 700 WLW Cincinnati.
I'll be honest, I'm really worried about my kids and grandkids. I never thought we'd be facing a national abortion ban in this country.
That's Kim. She lives in Cincinnati and is a grandma to 6.
If something happened to my family, I'd want them to have all the help they need. But with a national ban, they'll have nowhere to turn.
Bernie Moreno supports a national abortion ban, and he has said he is 100% against abortion with no exceptions. And if Moreno's in the Senate, he could be the deciding vote to pass a national abortion ban.
Last year, we voted to protect abortion in Ohio. Now, Bernie Moreno wants to get rid of that completely. It's simple. I don't trust Bernie Moreno to do what's right for my family. He should never be Ohio's senator.
Your Community PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Your Community PAC, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Learn more at yourcommunitypac.org.
Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Attention neuropathy sufferers. Amazing research has now shown that neuropathy symptoms can be reversed. One patient, Andrew, had constant burning and painful feet, but after just 2 treatments, he had a 50% improvement in his symptoms. He was able to sleep through the night and regain sensation. He now walks better, has improved balance, and has reduced his neuropathy medications. So call Elite Physical Medicine at 513-866-7300 to reverse your neuropathy without prescriptions or addictive medications. Left untreated, neuropathy can lead to foot, toe, or leg amputation. So don't wait. Call Elite Physical Medicine at 513-866-7300. The first 25 callers will receive a full exam and an in-depth consultation absolutely free. That's 513-866-7300.
Marty Brenneman here for Tri-State Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health for treating erectile dysfunction and low testosterone issues. And they're the leader for a reason, because I can tell you from my own experience of being treated there, Tri-State Men's Health is top shelf. Far too many men wait to get their ED treated. But I want to tell you today that you shouldn't wait any longer. If you're suffering with ED and are like most guys, a medical team at Tri-State Men's Health will get you back on track fast. They have the experience, they have the treatment protocols, and they know what they're doing. At Tri-State Men's Health, they have ED treatments that are effective in well over 90% of men. They can even combine treatments for better results. You might even find yourself performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment today. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. They have 6 offices in the tri-state area to serve you.
Cancer, a force of nature meets a fork in the road. But at the University of Cincinnati Cancer Center, we're finding new paths beyond possible. With unmatched expertise and early access to clinical trials and groundbreaking treatments, we're leading the way every step of the way. From wellness services to revolutionary proton treatment, we're not just defying odds, we're saving lives. That is boundless care. Discover more at cancer.uchealth.com.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or diabetes, you're at higher risk of being hospitalized from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
JeffWeilerHonda.com. This is Katina Mobley. This is what's trending from iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Ed Brun Heating and Air Conditioning.
The Commanders are 4-1, but before we declare them a contender, let's see how they do against the Ravens this weekend. They haven't exactly gone through a difficult schedule during their 4-game winning streak. All 4 wins have come against teams with losing records. That's not to say what they've done isn't impressive, but until they take down a viable playoff contender, it's difficult to evaluate just how much of a threat this team really is. I'm Dan Patrick.
It's Ed Brun Heating and Air Conditioning. For service you can trust in Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky. If it doesn't run, call Ed Brun, your American Standard air dealer. American Standard, installed by great Americans.
News, traffic, and weather. News Radio 700 WLW, Cincinnati.
Could be the closest race for president in our lifetime. With the 9:30 report, I'm Brian Combs. Breaking now already, huge turnout for voting in Ohio. Some boards of elections offices say they've seen twice as many people show up in person this week to vote than they did when early voting started. At the Hamilton County Board of Elections, they say the numbers show particularly Republican voters embracing early voting like never before. Latest polls on the race for president show it is extremely close.
If the polls are accurate right now, this will be the closest election in our lifetimes, and perhaps the closest election since the 19th century.
Galen Drukes with 538, the ABC News polling arm. In the general election, Kamala Harris is up 2 points, but the latest polls show Donald Trump ahead or tied in most of the key swing states that will determine the winner of the electoral vote. Now, latest traffic and weather together.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, mammograms save lives. Call 513-584-PINK to schedule your annual mammogram with UC Health's expert team. That's 513-584-PINK. Southbound 75 slows just a bit as you come out of Laughlin for a couple of extra minutes. You're doing fine at the Brent Spence Bridge, and fog is lifted and burned off. I'm not seeing any delays or problems on 275 through Anderson Township. Chuck Ingram, News Radio 700 WLW.
Now the latest forecast from the Train Heating and Cooling Weather Center on News Radio 700 WLW.
Sunny 76 for your high today in the Tri-State. Sunny 78 tomorrow and in the 80s. On Sunday, just a chance for a shower or a storm Sunday morning in the tri-state. The Bengals are in Jersey Sunday night to play the Giants. Kickoff 8:20. Shower possible there with a game time temperature of 62 degrees. Game day forecast thanks to Arlinghouse Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electric. It is 53 degrees right now. News Radio 700 WLW. Cleanup continuing in Florida, where they hope to have many of the major airports open late this afternoon. Federal Emergency Management Agency on the ground providing help recovering from Hurricane Milton. Big concerns right now, the number of people who still don't have any power.
A map of power outages graphically depicts Milton's northeasterly march across the state, starting with Sarasota County, where the storm made landfall, and 150,000 homes and businesses still lack power. Around the state, 2.5 million are still without electricity, but that number has fallen dramatically since Thursday morning.
That's ABC's Jim Ryan. On Wall Street, stock prices are starting this Friday, headed higher. The Dow right now is up 105 points. Our next update at 10. I'm Brian Combs, News Radio 700 WLW.
700 WLW Cincinnati. Available everywhere with the iHeartRadio app. Now number one for podcasting. 700 WLW, an iHeartRadio station.
Get ready for Genesis Diamond's largest ever sale on luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. Hey, this is David Cooper, Vice President at Genesis Diamonds. If you've ever dreamed of wearing a Rolex, you can't miss this special two-day event, October 18th and 19th. During this event, you can take advantage of special pricing and 0% interest financing on a stunning selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We've got dozens and dozens of Pepsi, Batman, Sprites, Submariners, Daytonas, models you can't find anywhere else. All of our luxury pre-owned Rolexes are in pristine like new condition, some just out of the box. And listen, with the purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex at this event, Genesis will give you a pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings free. That's a $3,000 value. Also, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be on site offering top dollar for your Rolex. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state and take advantage of special financing October 18th and 19th only, and only at Genesis Diamonds on Montgomery Road.
Listen to Sherrod Brown when he wanted your vote.
On major issues, I'll stand up to the president of my own party.
But Sherrod Brown doesn't stand up to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. He votes with them 97% of the time. Brown supported Biden and Harris on radical issues like amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants. Brown voted to give nearly $1 billion in COVID stimulus checks to convicted criminals in prison, even the Boston Marathon bomber. And Brown voted to give taxpayer-funded health care to illegals who get amnesty, and Social Security benefits, too. So the next time Sherrod Brown tells you,
I'll stand up to the president of my own party,
ignore it, because 31 years in Washington has changed Sherrod Brown. He's not for us anymore, and he's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.americancrossroads.org.
This is a weather warning. Weather happens, like, all the time. Look out your window. There's weather happening now. To ensure the comfort of your home, tune up your AC or furnace with Apollo Home for just $67. Choose local. Choose Apollo. ApolloHome.com.
Tri-State Chevrolet buyers. Mike Castrucci Chevrolet is your source for all things electric. Right now, lease a brand new 2024 Chevy Equinox EV for only $149 per month. 27 months, payment plus tax, 10,000 miles a year, 25 cents a mile over, $39.95 cash to its signing. Check us out online at MikeCastrucciChevrolet.com or visit us today at Mike Castrucci Chevrolet in Milford. Tri-State Chevrolet buyers. Leasing is back at Mike Castrucci Chevrolet in Milford. Right now, lease a brand new 2025 Chevrolet Trailblazer. Just $179 per month. Just 36 months. Payment plus tax, 10,000 miles a year, 25 cents a mile over, $39.95 cash or trade-in due at signing. Check us out online at MikeCastrucciChevrolet.com or visit us today at Mike Castrucci Chevrolet in Milford.
Wondering what's new at the Brew? Barleycorn's Brew House is now featuring their weekend brunch, Saturday and Sundays from 10 to 1 p.m. Enjoy brunch classics including waffles, bacon, biscuits and gravy, Goetta sliders, and more. Pairs well with our in-house beer. Barleycorns, get over here.
Why settle when your love is as real as it gets?
Begin your unforgettable engagement with a GIA-graded 1-carat natural diamond set in a timeless gold ring for just $3,950. Because love isn't made in a lab, we welcome all to experience the finest natural diamonds and rarest creations at prices you must see to believe. James Free Jewelers, 9555 Main Street, Montgomery, or shop online at jamesfree.com.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, Proactive Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Proactive Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Proactive Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 513-866-4886. 513-866-4886. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 513-866-4886.
For the biggest savings on new Ford Bronco, visit MikeCastrucciFord.com.
Unless you've been totally off the grid, you probably know there's a big election this year. Did you know that there's so much more than the president on the ballot? This year, we are voting for members of the House and the Senate, governors and state legislatures, school boards and sheriffs, and so much more. People are making decisions that shape your future, with or without you. So make sure you vote about it. Don't sit out this election. Get registered and ready to vote right now at whenweallvote.org. Sponsored by Civic Nation.
Sloaney on 700 WLW. Shuffling the deck chairs here on the Titanic is what we're doing. We're moving some stuff around and some things at a new time and new place and all that. And one of those things would be talking about movies and streaming and the like. And Will Gantz is here. Will is with ABC Entertainment in New York. Will, welcome. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Let's jump right in and talk about what's on. Well, we're going to watch a lot of football this weekend. That goes with the territory here in Cincinnati. But I know Netflix has a bunch of new stuff out, so let's just jump in and start with that. Heartstopper is a new show about a couple of high school friends. I don't know if this is targeted towards me, though. I'm not quite sure. Go ahead.
Hey, it's a great show for anybody, but you do have a point. It's a fan favorite, certainly among Gen Z, and a lot of people are talking about Heartstopper on TikTok and on Twitter and stuff, and it's built a real fan base there. But the show is so sweet, and it is about a couple of high school best friends who start to realize that maybe it's more than a friendship that's going on between them. And Season 3 just dropped on Netflix, and it is ranked at the very, very top of Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 98% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's not just me. It's not just Gen Z that loves this show. The critics really love it, too. But it's really, really sweet. Episodes are all about 30 minutes, so it's pretty easy to sit down and binge if you're looking for something short and sweet to watch this weekend. Heartstopper is a really, really lovely show.
Okay, now I know there's a show also on Netflix called Nobody Wants This. My daughter is really into this, and she said, you got to watch this. I want to say that Adam Brody, I love Adam Brody. Brody's awesome, but who's in it with him?
Okay, yeah, so Adam Brody, it's great to see him back on the small screen, and Kristen Bell is the leading lady in this show, Nobody Wants This, and it's just hilarious. So the premise is that he plays a rabbi. She meets him at a party, and they really, really hit it off. The only catch is she's not Jewish. So, of course, that's pretty important to him as a rabbi and his family for sure. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of a will they, won't they rom-com series. Really, really sweet. Their chemistry is incredible, and the show is laugh out loud funny. I made the mistake of watching this on a flight the other day, and I was really trying to stifle my laughter because I think the people in the rows around me were starting to think that I was losing my marbles a little bit. But the show is really, really wonderful. Their chemistry, like I said, wonderful. The supporting cast is hilarious. All 10 episodes are out for season 1, and they're each under half an hour, so you'll fly through them. And Netflix just announced yesterday that Nobody Wants This will be coming back for season 2. So you can watch it, and then you don't have to worry about never seeing these characters again because they'll be back for a second season.
Is it a New York City vibe? How does that play in the Midwest?
They are based in Los Angeles. This
Oh,
show.
okay,
So,
okay, got it.
But it's really, I mean, it really is so fresh. The writing is crisp and clean, and they're, some of the jokes feel familiar because it is like rom-com, and some of them are hilarious, like one-liners that I've never heard before. So it's just, I think it's a show that everybody would really, really love.
Kind of get your arms around the. Okay, so it's a rom-com, and so you sit down and Nobody Wants This. That is also on Netflix. What else do you have, Will?
So if you are ready to sort of lean into spooky season, Halloween is just around the corner. Speak No Evil is now streaming. So this was just in the movie theaters, and they sort of brought it to streaming early. I think they realized that there's probably an audience of people who want to watch something scary this time of year, so now you can. Speak No Evil stars James McAvoy. It's a thriller about a family that meets another family on vacation. They just share one dinner with them and sort of hit it off. And this family accepts an invitation at a later date to visit this new family in the English countryside. And so they're out there sort of in the remote countryside and start to realize maybe they don't know this family as well as they thought they did. Things start to go a little wrong, get a little creepy. The film is a masterclass in building suspense. Like, it just starts off uncomfortable and just gets worse and worse and worse. And the last half hour will have you on the edge of your seat, just totally enthralled with what's going on. I would recommend not watching this one alone. Maybe have a buddy with you, but it's a great thriller, good acting, and like I said, it's just suspense building at its finest.
It won't be in the Sloan household because my wife absolutely refuses to watch anything scary. She will not abide. She will not abide, Will.
Well, then maybe skip Speak No Evil. I'm sure there's some. Maybe Nobody Wants This would be more up her alley. That could be your watch for this weekend.
I had, what I had to seriously do? I had to talk her into watching Vince Vaughn and Bad Monkey because she thought it was going to be about an evil monkey. I'm like, no, I don't think it's about I don't think the monkey's central to the plot. And we watch it, and it's a fantastic series. So that's on Apple TV Plus. I love that.
Yeah, that did really, really well. But there are a couple of monkey-focused series that are out right now. I don't know if you've heard about Chimp Crazy on Mac, but that's like a docu-series that does focus on actual monkeys, and it is a little unnerving. So,
really?
Yeah, I can understand.
Wait, hold on. You can't just set the table like that. That's a little unnerving. Are they possessed monkeys? Are they rabid monkeys that'll rip your head? Remember what was it? The monkey that got jealous at the guy giving the other monkey cake and ripped his head off like 20 years ago?
So this is a documentary about that exact thing.
Oh,
so
man.
It was like an Elmo doll that set this monkey off.
That's what it was.
It's a true story, and it's about the woman who, like, it's sort of like a follow-up to, remember Joe Exotic and Tiger King?
Yeah.
So it's Chimp Crazy is like that, but it's about this woman who sort of looks like a blend of Tammy Faye Baker and Dolly Parton, and then add in a dash of Joe Exotic, and that's what this docuseries is about.
Of course she's going to look like Tammy Faye Baker. She's got to look like, you'd be like, yeah, that's about right for somebody who is trying to give an Elmo doll to a monkey and then gets her head ripped off, because monkeys can be mean.
Yes, and they're so strong, so, yeah. But Bad Monkey, on the other hand, a great series.
Yeah, and he wears diaper, and he's a nice monkey, but he's not really central to the plot at all. I'm not sure why they even call him Bad Monkey, but Vince Vaughn is in it. And if you're looking for, it's a good couple kind of thing, but it's a comedy / drama. So he's a detective and stuff, and it's anyway, without blowing the plot, it's pretty cool. So not a bad show at all. Anything else we need to know about this weekend?
That's really what I'm watching this weekend. Counting down, of course, we've got some big releases. I think people had very, very high hopes for Joker Folie à Deux. Unfortunately, it feels like that might not have been exactly what fans were anticipating. But, we're just a few weeks away now from Wicked, which everybody is thrilled about, and early buzz for that movie sounds wonderful. And we're getting into prime movie season coming up here, so there should be a lot of fun stuff to watch in the coming weeks.
Will Gann's in New York, ABC Entertainment. We're talking about movies and stream this weekend. Real quick before I let you go, though, you mentioned Joker, and I have no friends at all, Will, in my life, and the ones that I do that are in the show say that the new Joker, it's terrible. Is it because it's a musical? Why does it miss?
I think that it sort of alienated its fan base from the first movie, which felt like a big misstep. So, we had this underdog outcast sort of guy who was the hero of the first film, and his fans were sort of celebrated and stuff like that. And then in the second one, he's on trial, and it's sort of it just takes away that celebrating the underdog type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, there are really, really wonderful and super successful movie musicals that, so I don't think it's that it's a musical. I think that it just sort of went in a direction that the fans that were built in from the first movie were sort of like, wait, what are we doing here? And are we the bad guys?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it went in a direction that I don't think fans were super thrilled about. And I know that, the DC comic fans were also sort of scratching their head after watching.
Yeah, but it was it's so hard to follow, like any sequel, it's always so hard to follow up the original, because if it's going to be a sequel, it has to be a successful movie to begin with if you're going to turn it into a franchise. And we know that's always really hard. You can count on one hand the number of sequels that are really, really worth it, at least in my opinion anyway. This one goes in a whole different direction. It's almost too soon to go in that direction. I kind of get what's going on here. Do you think there'll be a Joker 3 after this to try and make good for this crappy second one?
If there is, they're going to have to wait a long, long time to hope that people sort of forget about the second one. So maybe when we're talking about Joker 3 in 2034, we'll remember this conversation.
Yeah, right. It'll be like turning into Star Wars. Anyway, Will Gans in New York at Will, Ganss. You follow him on Twitter and social, and he'll join Fridays talking movies, streaming, et cetera, et cetera. Will, be good. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Scott. Have a good one.
Take care. So moving stuff around the show, and we'll do a little streaming and entertainment update there for you around 9:35 here on the Scott Sloan Show, Friday mornings on 700 WLW. News on the way in just about 10 minutes or so. Actually, I shouldn't even say that. Closer to like 5 minutes or so. I don't know, my clock's wrong here. I've got to reboot it. Friday's a good day to reboot stuff, including your phone. You having problems with your phone? Reboot it. And then magically it fixes itself. It's pretty cool. The fallout from Milton, not as bad as we thought. I think, 15 people dead so far? I think was the latest number I had. And granted, that's still 15 loss of life, but it's not anywhere near what we thought initially. So that's good. Dodged the bullet down in Florida. Good news is those of us here in Cincinnati, the UCF game will go on as scheduled. I know there was pause for concern there based on the hurricane that the Bearcats would not be playing tomorrow, but yes, they are. The team will leave as regular time and play down in Florida. Looks like we're good to go down in Orlando, because they didn't get that much of the hurricane. It blew through, but certainly 80-mile-an-hour winds for them. Not a big deal. For us, it would be catastrophic here in Cincinnati, but they're set to deal with that, obviously. So the Bearcats play tomorrow, and then you got the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. Dan Horde joins the show. Well, Dan joined the show, I should say, at 9, and then Austin Elmore, of course, at 10:36. We'll recap all that stuff. We'll get in if you missed that first segment with Dan. We'll kind of talk Bengals. We'll also talk about the Bearcats and FC Cincinnati, who is kind of not doing really well right now as they have their final regular season game and then into the postseason. So lots of sports to cover at 10:35 this morning. But just ahead here on 700 WW Scott Sloan Show at 10:07. Speaking of sports, we pivot to the Reds briefly here too, with the announcement that Terry Francona will be the next manager of our Cincinnati Redlegs starting right now and then into spring training. Pitchers and catchers report, believe it or not, in just a few short months. Will we actually be able to watch these games this season? That's the big question. You may or may not know. If you do have the Bally's Sports app or you're able to get it on your cable, good. That's awesome because you're watching the games. But there's a lot of people who don't get it, myself included, because of the platform I have for my home television and streaming. It just simply can't get it. You may have heard also that Bally's Sports, but particularly an outfit called the Diamond Sports Group that does all the streaming and has the rights, they're going through bankruptcy right now. The MLB is starting to take over, including Cleveland. Cleveland Guardian games will now be shown through the MLB app. We don't have that deal yet here in Cincinnati. How close are we to doing that is the big question. So we'll get to that right after news update. Scott Sloan back in a couple minutes, 700 WLW.
Meanwhile, in the Enchanted Forest, look out, Eddie and Rocky. The big bad wolf is right behind you.
We know, dude. The wolf is with us.
Yeah, we have a little unfinished business with the three little pigs.
Last night was poker night.
Yeah, time for those little oinkers to pay up.
I hope you'll be done in time to entertain the millions of loyal listeners who count on your 3 hours of endless afternoon entertainment.
Don't worry, we'll be on, and we might have a special giveaway.
Fresh ham.
Eddie and Rocky.
This afternoon at 3.
On 700 WLW.
High prices are like a money vacuum, sucking your wallet dry. No! But don't fret. You could win our inflation vacation. $1,000 to ease your money woes. Woo-hoo! Listen for your chances to win every weekday.
For heating and cooling, for plumbing and drains around the tri-state, you only need to know one name. Plum Tight. We're the experts at all these things. Call us because you deserve better. Plum Tight. Plum Tight. Plum Tight.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9924. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9924. That's 800-575-9924. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Men over 45. Do you have a frequent, urgent need to urinate or a weak flow? Do you suffer from an enlarged prostate or BPH? Know your options. If BPH medications are bothering you or you're worried about invasive surgery, ask about the UroLift system. The UroLift system is an outpatient, minimally invasive procedure. It reopens the channel with no cutting and provides rapid symptom relief with no new, sustained erectile or ejaculatory dysfunction, as shown in a clinical study. Go to UroLift.com and click on Find a Physician for a doctor near you. Urolift.com. UROLIFT.com. Most common side effects are temporary and can include discomfort when urinating, urgency, inability to control the urge, pelvic pain, and some blood in the urine. Rare side effects, including bleeding and infection, may lead to a serious outcome and may require intervention. If you suffer from symptoms of an enlarged prostate or BPH, the UroLift system is a proven alternative to BPH medication or invasive surgery. Visit Urolift.com and click on Find a Physician to speak to a doctor to see if you're a candidate for the UroLift system.
Just like your favorite team, you need a solid lineup to tackle your financial goals. That's where Journey Advisory Group comes in. With a winning game plan, Journey's team of financial advisors ensures you're always ahead. Visit journeyadvisory.group to schedule a conversation. Your financial journey starts here.
Do you have an idea for an invention or new product and don't know what to do next? Inventors. InventHelp can help you get started with your idea. Call 1-800-INVENTION or go to InventHelp.com to get your free inventors information. They can help you try to patent your idea and submit it to companies. Get started with your idea today at InventHelp.com. InventHelp is the leading invention service company. With offices nationwide, they've been helping inventors since 1984. Inventors received more than 10,000 patents through their patent referral services. Don't wait to get started with your idea. For free information, contact your friends at InventHelp. Go to InventHelp.com or call 1-800-INVENTION. That's InventHelp.com or call 1-800-INVENTION. They help everyday inventors just like you. Additional services include invention websites, prototype models, technical drawings, and more. They keep your idea confidential and explain every step of their invention services. Remember, that's InventHelp.com. InventHelp.com.
Don't get left in the cold. Now's the time to tune up your heating system with Tempstar. Regular maintenance on your heating system stops breakdowns, increases efficiency, and improves comfort. Call Braun Heating at 513-385-7765 to schedule a tune-up. Tempstar. Quality you can feel.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 original stations for you to explore right now, like Coffee Shop Radio.
Bad habits lead to you. Yeah, they were all yellow.
Just search Coffee Shop Radio and listen now on your free iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or diabetes, you're at higher risk of being hospitalized from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise,
there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Live from the 700 WLW studios. Driven by Mike Castrucci Jeep in Fairfax. Now recognized as the largest volume Jeep dealer in Greater Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky. Mike Castrucci Jeep is the #1 Jeep dealer in the tri-state. That's Mike Castrucci Jeep in Fairfax.
You're listening to 700 WLW. Also available on 94.5 FM W233BG Cincinnati.
How many 72-year-olds still can say that their dad is alive? Whatever's in the genes with the Carter family, it is impressive. Jimmy Carter, former President Carter, just turned 100. His son, 72, just diagnosed with Parkinson's. I said, wow, he's pretty young for Parkinson's. I looked and said, wow, he's 72. I guess if you're 100 and your kid's still alive, that's pretty good longevity right there. But like anything in life, as you know, the longer we live, the more likely we are to get tripped up by things like Parkinson's and other diseases that we didn't have to worry about just a generation or two ago, for sure. Something else I saw here real quick, sharing with you too, and I think this, with sports coming up this weekend, we tend to be more sports focused on Friday mornings because of that, because I can't wait. I don't know about you. Do you see what they're doing in tennis at Wimbledon in 2025? They announced this week they're going to replace line judges with AI. So all the out and fault calls, they already have the ball tracking, and I'm not sure it works. I watch enough tennis to watch that much tennis, but when I do, it's like, okay, good. We're going to have the computer review it, and it shows exactly where the ball landed. And they have to wait. You just have to wait a minute, probably, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds for the computer to figure it out. I don't know if that's true or they're just trying to build up anticipation, but still, it's pretty effective when it comes to determining the ball's in or out. And it looks really well. So they're just going to explain that whole thing and then get rid of the officiating. So we just talked about, AI with the Longshoremen's Union, right? And that strike that largely was about AI as much more so than pay. We saw the Writers Guild strike not long ago, the UAW involved in AI, and now tennis or the officials. And I look at this and go, wow, we have a little chip in the ball, I guess, but with AI and all the imaging we have with football here, it seems to me like if I'm an NFL official, I'm kind of going, I'm not quite sure in 5-10 years if I'm going to have that job. I mean, we've got countless officials on the field. They do it in soccer fairly well with the virtual assistant referee. And you wonder at some point that baseball would be another one where you got to be looking at that. And the AI is going to be able to do this in, essentially real time and be the official. How much longer it's going to be before we don't have those on the court or the field anymore? Good question. Got to get to a news update. The very latest, what's happening here in Cincinnati. We've got road closures happening this weekend. And as a matter of fact, I-75 North going to be closed again between the lateral and westbound from State Route 562 tonight at 10 o'clock. Just FYI, as they try to fix a little dip in the road. Lateral's all good. This is not part of that. Well, it kind of is part of that. Accessible anyway, just something to keep in mind here. Full update. That'll be in news and more to follow coming up at 10:07. Speaking of sports, still no deal for the Reds in streaming next season. How much closer are the Reds to actually being able to watch a baseball game if you don't have Bally's or have access to, which is a lot of people? Cleveland actually just got on board with MLB. No word out of Cincinnati yet. We'll talk to Robbie Baxterman. She's a streaming expert about what to expect here in Cincinnati when it comes to that. Just ahead on the home of the Reds. And, of course, the best Bengals coverage. Sunday Night Football is here on 700 WLW Cincinnati.
News, traffic, and weather. News Radio 700 WLW Cincinnati.
Cleanup efforts continue with the 10 o'clock report. I'm Rick Ucino. Breaking now across the state of Florida, thousands of people going to be spending their weekend cleaning up after the 1-2 punch of back-to-back hurricanes.
In South Bradenton, near the point of Hurricane Milton's landfall, a mobile home park is filled with pink insulation, twisted aluminum, and toppled palm trees.
Some of these houses will get repaired, but I would say a lot of them are not going to get repaired.
Holly Watson's home came through the storm with relatively little damage, but among her neighbors,
I believe people will just move away.
Jim Ryan, ABC News, Tampa.
Still over 2.5 million homes and businesses without power in Florida. Over a dozen people have been confirmed dead thus far. FEMA is on the ground providing assistance to anyone who needs it. UC Bearcats, meantime, will be heading to Orlando. Their football game against UCF still on for tomorrow afternoon. Kickoff is set for 3:30. You can hear all the action right here on News Radio 700 WLW. Let's check the latest traffic and weather together.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, mammograms save lives. Call 513-584-PINK to schedule your annual mammogram with UC Health's expert team. That's 513-584-PINK. Southbound 75 is running an extra 3 to 4 minutes in and out of Laughlin. Elsewhere, highway traffic doing fine, and crews just cleared a wreck on Boudinot below Harrison. Chuck Ingram, News Radio 700 WLW.
Now the latest forecast from the Advanced Dentistry Weather Center. Advanced Dentistry, the judgment-free dental experience you've been looking for. NoFearDentist.com.
Sunshine today in the tri-state, a high topping out at 76. Clear tonight, your low down to 48. Sunny for your Saturday with a high of 78. As we head into Sunday, slight chance we see some showers and storms. Otherwise, a mix of sun and clouds on the day. Going to warm up into the low 80s. Rain is in the forecast in East Rutherford, New Jersey Sunday night when the Bengals take on the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium. Temperature is expected to drop down into the 50s during Sunday night football. This game day forecast, is thanks to Arlinghouse Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electric. The Ohio Department of Transportation getting ready to close down I-75 northbound at the Norwood Lateral tonight. A weekend-long repair project on the highway that gets underway at 10 o'clock.
This is something that we need to do to fix the dip in the roadway. It's been something that a lot of people who are familiar with it, who drive this stretch of I-75, they know fully well what we're talking about, and I think they'll appreciate the work once it's done. But just getting there takes the typical construction growing pains that we have. So we appreciate everybody being patient.
Kathleen Fuller with ODOT says there is a chance they could wrap up all the repair work by 3 a.m. Monday morning. That's if they don't, however. A third closure of I-75 will have to be scheduled. The newest member of Cincinnati City Council is Democratic Attorney Evan Nolan. The Cheviot native announced as the replacement for Reggie Harris, who resigned from council last month after accepting a job with the Biden administration. Cincinnati police have a man in custody for a deadly shooting that happened last night in East Price Hill. Officers called out to a home on West 8th Street around 7:30. They found 25-year-old Joshua Sherman suffering from a gunshot wound. He was rushed to UC Medical, where he later died. 37-year-old Jawan Ferguson has been arrested and charged with murder. On Wall Street right now, a mixed day thus far. The Dow bouncing back after yesterday's losses, up nearly 200 points. The Nasdaq has lost 24. S&P has picked up 13. News, a service of AE Door and Window. Our next update at 10:30. I'm Rick Ucchino, News Radio 700 WLW.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 in my garage after I overpaid for new blinds. I researched the industry, hired my mom, and 14 years later, we're one of the largest retailers of custom blinds in the U.S. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
Tire Discounters announces our latest breakthrough, TD Chat BS. This software allows us to detect untruths, deceptions, and even outright lies.
Let's listen in as we call a local car dealer.
Hi, I drive your model of auto or truck. I need servicing.
Oh, that's great. You should always call the dealer for service to make sure your warranty stays intact.
Untruth.
Excuse me?
I can attend at Tire Discounters for all services, even for all manufacturers' scheduled maintenance. Warranty not affected.
But it's only us dealers who really know our own models.
Deception. Tire Discounters technicians are certified experts for all makes and models.
Okay, maybe.
How many dollars do you charge me for? As few as Tire Discounters?
We are not that much more.
Outright lie. Ending call now. Bye. Adios. Aloha. Hasta la pasta.
Right now, save up to $250 on Cooper tires, and Shocks and Struts are buy 3, get 1 free.
Shocks to the young, and you need to. One for COVID and one for
All right.
Protect yourself, Ohio. Get your shots for COVID and flu today. A message from the Ohio Departments of Health and Aging.
For 76 years, Gate of Heaven Cemetery has served the Christian community with respect and compassion. You'll see why Greater Cincinnati families choose Gate of Heaven Cemetery for their loved ones when you discover our serene park-like grounds in person. Honoring life on sacred ground. Visit gateofheaven.org.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or diabetes, you're at higher risk of being hospitalized from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
This season, get premium tech that inspires joy from Dell Technologies. Bring projects to life with the XPS 16. It delivers supercharged processing for enhanced productivity and freedom to express yourself. Performance-class Dell PCs with Intel Core Ultra processors deliver a dedicated engine to help accelerate AI. Enjoy free shipping, Dell rewards, and expert support. When you get a Dell PC with AI, it gives back. Shop now at Dell.com/deals.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 original stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Coffee Shop Radio.
It's true, my bad habits lead to you.
Acoustic rock and the greatest singer-songwriters of the 90s to now.
All night, come on, dance with me. I'm levitating.
And Coffee Shop Radio goes commercial-free every weekend.
That was when I ruled the world.
Open the free iHeartRadio app, search Coffee Shop Radio, and listen now.
iHeartRadio.
Free never sounded so good.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Enter this nationwide keyword